This video includes an overview of the entire Neuro Cervical package and detailed setup instruction for the clear access table base, prone platform or open top, FlexFrame or Wilson-style frame, multi-directional arm boards, thigh pad, ankle rest, and cranial stabilization adapter with non-OR safety equipment, the Mayfield base unit, and skull clamp. This arrangement is typically used for posterior spine surgery procedures that require cranial stabilization, such as cervical decompression, laminectomy, discectomy, fusion, osteotomy, vertebroplasty, and kyphoplasty. The Clear Access Spine Surgery Table by OR Safety was developed to maintain all of the utility of competitive spine tables that are generically referred to as Jackson tables, while removing all of the notable drawbacks of those types of systems. The table maintains head-to-toe C-arm access for lateral, anterior, and posterior spine procedures, and can support the simultaneous use of two C-arms. While maintaining such unrestricted C-arm access and providing target site radiolucency, the Clear Access table has a safe working load of 600 pounds and has a noticeably more stable operating surface, particularly for heavier patients. Without outboard wheels, the table allows shoulder-to-shoulder docking with the gurney, which facilitates safe patient transfer onto and off of the operating platform. Finally, and perhaps most notably, there are no towers at the head or foot end, completely removing the need for T-pins and allowing anesthesia direct access to the patient's head and airway. Notice that without outboard wheels and towers, the Clear Access table has a dramatically smaller footprint than the competitive systems. A small footprint has been shown to be a significant benefit in the increasingly crowded ORs, hallways, and storage areas of most facilities. Specifically, Jackson-style tables commonly occupy more than 26 square feet of space, while the Clear Access footprint is less than 12 square feet. Importantly, the Clear Access table is the only spine table on the market that has 3 preset configurations, each configuration organized in response to customer feedback and intended to deliver the right amount of equipment to fit specific types of clinical practices. The ASC solution is configured to support practices dedicated to outpatient spine procedures and interventional pain management. The new standard is configured for hospital-based spine practices and can support anterior, posterior, and lateral spine procedures. The Neuro Cervical configuration supports practices that include brain surgery and posterior cervical procedures requiring cranial stabilization. In this video, we will highlight the Clear Access Neuro Cervical configuration. This is the most broadly capable version of the Clear Access table. It will support anterior, posterior, and lateral spine procedures, and with the use of the cranial stabilization system, can support brain surgery or cervical spine procedures that require cranial stabilization. Like the new standard configuration, the Neuro Cervical configuration begins with the Clear Access table base and 2 tabletops, the supine platform or flat top, and the prone platform or open top. The Neuro Cervical configuration includes the Clear Access head support, multi-directional arm boards, the FlexFrame spine frame, and leg management system. Importantly, the Neuro Cervical configuration also includes the OR Safety cranial stabilization adapter and rope traction device. The cranial stabilization adapter is compatible with the base units of most cranial stabilization systems, including Mayfield and Neuro. The rope traction device can be installed into the cranial stabilization adapter and is most commonly used for ACDF procedures. When required, the Clear Access table can be set up to provide cranial stabilization during posterior spine surgery procedures. This video details the correct setup of the Clear Access table for posterior cervical cases with cranial stabilization via a Mayfield skull clamp. Note that the table may be configured with the OR Safety 4 poster frame, called the open frame, or the FlexFrame, OR Safety's version of a Wilson frame. In this video, we will illustrate the installation and use of the FlexFrame. Setup of the Clear Access table for these types of procedures can be completed in a few minutes. Let's review the correct setup of the Clear Access table with the FlexFrame, leg management, and cranial stabilization. Move the Clear Access table to the preferred location in the OR. To lock the table to the floor, press any button on the hand controller to wake it. Both hand controllers will auto-sleep if inactive for 30 seconds. Press any button to reactivate, and then lock the table by pressing the wheels button firmly once and releasing. You'll note an audible beep as the table is lowered to the ground, warning caregivers to keep personnel and equipment clear of the table. If the prone platform is not already installed, it's likely that the supine platform, or flat top, is in place. If this is the case, remove the supine platform by grasping the silver handles at both ends of the table. Extend the handles by pulling outward, then lift and remove the supine platform from the clear access table base. Next, install the prone platform, or open top, onto the table. To do this, bring the prone platform over the table and lower it carefully into the cradle. Once the prone platform is completely seated, depress both thumb releases at each end of the table to collapse the handles into the platform. Collapsing the handles at the foot end locks the prone platform into the base. The Clear Access FlexFrame spine platform is sometimes generically referred to as a Wilson frame. There are two versions of the FlexFrame: the standalone version that can be mounted on any suitable flat-top operating table, and the Clear Access version that can be used only on the prone platform of the Clear Access table. To begin, install the FlexFrame onto the prone platform by inserting the feet into the gaps on the inner rails of the prone platform. Slide forward toward the head support and secure it in place with the utility locks, immediately adjacent to the FlexFrame at the head and foot end of the platform. Click on the link at the end of this video for more detailed instructions on the use of the FlexFrame. The leg management system includes a thigh pad and an ankle rest. Install the thigh pad on the carbon fiber support closest to the FlexFrame by wrapping the flaps of the pad around the support and joining the Velcro underneath. Adjust the placement of the pad as necessary by sliding it toward the head or foot end of the table. Repeat the installation procedure with the ankle rest on the carbon fiber support closest to the foot end of the table. For patients shorter than 5 feet 10 inches, it may be preferable not to use the thigh pad. If this is the case, remove the thigh pad and advance the ankle rest forward to the head end carbon fiber support. To prepare the table for posterior spine cases that require cranial stabilization, fully extend the cantilever of the table by pressing and holding either the cantilever extend or the cervical button on the hand controller until the table stops moving. Once the table has been fully cantilevered, extend the handle at the head end by grasping and pulling the handle outward. Ensure that it is locked in the extended position. Next, obtain the OR Safety manufactured cranial stabilization adapter and the institution-owned Mayfield or other manufacturer cranial stabilization base unit. It's necessary to install the base unit into the cranial stabilization adapter before installing both onto the table. To join the two, hold the cranial stabilization adapter with the 3 black knobs pointed downward and the single black knob pointed away from the base unit. Install the base unit into the cranial stabilization adapter by fully sliding the base unit into the receiving tubes of the adapter. Once fully seated, hand tighten both base unit retaining knobs. Install the base unit and adapter onto the prone platform by bringing the system underneath the handle and lifting upward to engage both the handle and the stabilization bar. Slide the adapter toward the foot end of the table to click into place. Lock the adapter and base unit to the handle by firmly hand tightening the locking knob on the bottom of the adapter. Verify that the system is firmly locked by pulling on the components to ensure no movement. Once the adapter and base unit have been installed correctly onto the Clear Access table, the base unit and skull clamp should be utilized in accordance with the instructions for use of those systems. Most base units will accommodate a variety of skull clamp locations. For illustrative purposes, observe how the skull clamp is joined to the base unit and ultimately locked into place. For many posterior cervical cases with cranial stabilization, the patient's arms are secured to the patient's body and arm boards are not necessary. In the event that arm boards are to be utilized, install the Clear Access multi-directional arm boards by engaging the side rail of the table with the arm board lock at a superior position to the side rail. Once engaged, tighten the locking mechanism firmly. Make sure the position of the arm board will not interfere with the surgical staff during the procedure. Once the lock is attached to the side rail, Move the arm board to the desired position and secure in place by tightening the large black knob at the elbow of the arm board. Repeat these steps to install the opposing arm board. Once the patient has been carefully placed onto the table with the skull clamp in place, anterior, posterior, and lateral C-arm images may be easily captured without obstruction. With no head end tower, anesthesia has unobstructed access to the patient's head and airway. Motorized lateral roll to the left and right, Trendelenburg and reverse Trendelenburg, or combinations of both Trendelenburg and lateral roll, can allow the surgeon to optimize the surgical approach angle at the access point. Of course, when extreme angulation of any operating platform is employed, it is critical to adequately secure the patient to the table. Please consult the clear access instructions for use with any further questions.